Welcome to the Beyond Barriers podcast. If you're an ambitious woman who wants to advance in leadership, then this podcast is for you. This podcast is co-hosted by Nikki Barua, digital innovator, serial entrepreneur, author, and speaker, and Monica Marquez, senior corporate leader, ex-Googler, and diversity expert. From inspiring stories to cutting-edge strategies, you'll learn how to develop the skill set, mindset, and tool set to get future-ready fast and accelerate your success.
Hi, I'm Nikki, your host for today's episode. Let's say you've got a great idea that you really believe in, but you've got no clue where to start. What would you do? Would you figure out a way? Or feel stuck and do nothing? Meet Merrilee Kick, CEO and founder of BuzzBallz's and Southern Champion. Merrilee was a school teacher who had this lightbulb idea while she was grading papers by her pool. But rather than just sit on that idea, Merrilee set off on researching how to bring that idea to life. 9 months later, Merrilee launched BuzzBallz's and Southern Champion, becoming the only woman-owned distillery, winery, brewery combination in the United States. Merrilee has won numerous awards and recognitions for her successes. She's a winner of the Dallas Business Journal's Most Admired CEO Award, the EY Entrepreneur of the Year Award Southwest, EY's Winning Women Award, winner of the Enterprising Women's Award, winner of the Top Women in Grocery Award, and winner of WPO's Fastest Companies Award. In this episode, Merrilee shares her entrepreneurial journey and the lessons she's learned in building her business. She also shares advice on the best ways to get unstuck, how to unlock your motivation, and bring your ideas to life. Visit I'mBeyondBarriers.com where you'll find show notes and links to all the resources in this episode, including the best way to get in touch with Merrilee. Hi, Merrilee. So great to have you. Welcome to the Beyond Barriers podcast.
Thank you. Thank you, Nikki. I appreciate it.
This is going to be a super fun conversation because you are a pioneer and a maverick, and I can't wait for our audience to get to know you and learn from you because I have learned so much from you over the years, and I'm excited to dive right into your story and all of the things that you've navigated through and the lessons you've learned that you can share with our audience. So let's jump right in. So first off, let's start with your sort of founding story, if you will. You were a school teacher in Plano, correct?
Right.
And so tell us about how did you go from being a teacher to transitioning into entrepreneurship?
Well, it was about 12 years ago, and my school came to me. I was a high school teacher in Plano, Texas, and school came to me and said they'd pay for my MBA if I wanted to go get it. And I was like, yeah, I want my MBA. If you're paying, I'll go get it. So got my MBA, and I was grading papers by the pool and came up with this idea. I was having a cocktail grading papers by the pool, just more specifically. But I thought it was back in 2008, 2009. And I was trying to think, because that was kind of in the middle of a recession, what survives in good times and bad, and what makes money, what kind of businesses make money. And I was getting this MBA and had to do a master's degree thesis project. And so I had this little round votive candle from Sweden next to me, and I thought it'd be cool to make a little alcoholic party ball. And so I came up with this concept of a ready to drink cocktail that was single serve. You didn't have to buy a 4-pack or a 6-pack. You could mix and match the flavors, buy it by the ball. And I wanted to make this round cocktail ball. I didn't know how, and I didn't have any experience, and I didn't know what I was doing, but it was my idea. And so the more I started researching it and getting into it, I figured out how to do it and drew the design and got the patent, got the mold, did everything. And then I got my permits to actually go for it and do it. So that was the start of my company, BuzzBallz's. So what I do is I make alcoholic beverages, and namely BuzzBallz's, which are little cocktails in a round ball shaped container. But I also make all kinds of other things too, like rum and gin and bourbon and vodka. And then I make ready to drink cocktails in bottles, that sell at grocery stores. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell. And now, one thing that's really funny is I didn't know I was making history by doing it. I'm the only woman-owned distillery, winery, brewery combo in the whole United States.
Wow.
Yeah. Didn't know that. Making history.
That is incredible. And all of that started from an idea in business school. So tracing back to when you first thought of that, when you looked at that votive candle and said, you want to make a beverage in that shape, from there to actually sort of making it real and launching it, how long was that time period?
9 months.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like having a baby, so it was from the time I launched it, came up with the concept to getting all the permits and federal and state requirements completed and getting rent on a warehouse, because you can't do this stuff in your house. So I had to have a physical warehouse space and had to go through all the legal compliance. It was very complicated. And then had to have tanks and machinery and all that kind of stuff, and had to sell the product to somebody so I could get a small SBA loan. So that whole process, I schmoozed my way through it and got it done in 9 months. Usually it took people like 18. So I was
going to say that seems extremely fast, because it's not just about the number of things that need to get done. It's actually the hesitation and self-doubt and the complexity.
No hesitation or self-doubt. It was the waiting on other people to get back to me.
Right.
How long does it take to get State Farm to give me a bond? Or how long does it take for the Federal Alcohol, Tobacco, Tax and Trade Bureau to get back to me with a permit? Did I do it right? So get to it in their own time.
Right. So, we hear from our audience and many of the cohort members that we work with that even when they have a vision and they have this idea, what holds them back is the tyranny of the how. I don't know how to do it, and I'm afraid to even embark on it. And I started taking those first steps and things got too complicated, and now I'm afraid I'm going to fail. What advice would you give to someone who's caught in that and just stuck, where they're not moving forward towards it?
I would think they aren't entrepreneurs if they get stuck in that, because an entrepreneur is a little more fearless. They dig, they do research, and they're like a charging bull, and it's not like they don't like to follow rules, but they will Google things to death and figure out how something's done. But, I think that if you get stuck or need motivation or need, things like that, either you aren't researching enough, you need to go out there and dig, and you need to ask the people that are involved in that. Go take a tour of their facility. Go ask for advice. People love to give advice, so ask them, and a lot of times, I get people from all over, probably once a week, somebody saying, I want to get into the ready to drink cocktail space. I want you to teach me how to compete with you at your business. Ironic, but yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So the other big obstacle often tends to be funding, or just even knowing how to bootstrap that initial stage. How did you go about doing that?
Because especially you find a customer. You create the item if it's a customer product, a consumer product. And then you show it around. You create a sell sheet of what it looks like and how many colors does it come in and how big is it and how much does it weigh and how are you going to pack it and how do you display it? Who's the competitive set? How much are you going to charge for it? You create this sales sheet that basically you take out to your prospective buyers and say, here's what I got. Here's some samples. Try it out. Once you get some nibbles and figure out who your buyer's going to be, and you get a contract or an offer or a purchase order, that's when you go to the bank and you say, I have a buyer. This is going to sell. And it's not like my friend's mom is going to buy this or my brother's friend is going to buy this. It's a real qualified buyer. Yeah.
Now, getting into retail distribution is very, very challenging. It can be a barrier for a lot of people to get into, but it hasn't, stopped you. So what has worked for you in that? And how did you, again, navigate through some of those barriers?
Well, you start with the independent stores first, not the big chain stores. You don't go hit Walmart right off the bat, or something like that. You go to somebody that's not a chain. You build a reputation in the independent market with the mom and pop stores with the person that you personally talk to, and they have a network. They talk, so, Bill at this store knows Sam at that store, and they talk. They compare prices, so get your feet wet in the independent market first, fix all your problems. And then later you can hire somebody that has that network into the chain market. But you have to have proven success, and you have to have, if it's a consumer product, you have to be charting on Nielsen before, people really take you seriously. They want to see that your market share is huge, or, that they're crazy if they don't bring it in, type of thing. But some things you can do too is attend trade shows to get more customers. You can also send out those sell sheets that I was telling you about to start. You can send out a mailer to every single retail store in the area, in your territory. Lick and stamp letters and send those out, because you can't personally go to all these places. Right. But, they'll go to their distributor and say, what is this? I got this in the mail. I'm interested in this. So you can kind of grow it that way too.
So one of the things that really stands out about BuzzBallz is that it's not just about the beverage, it's the brand, which is so distinctive. And, it seems like the most unique quality of it, that whether you walk into a store or see online, I mean, to me, it's just an incredibly powerful brand. And tell me more about your vision of how the brand was developed beyond the product.
Well, I used to teach marketing and entrepreneurship and those kinds of things in high school. So I love marketing. I wanted to create a brand that sounded and looked like what it is. So BuzzBall, it's shaped like a ball, so I wanted something that looked like a ball so you'd remember it. And it's in the alcohol space, so buzz kind of comes naturally. But I wanted something that was cool looking. It's an iconic shape, and it's not easily replicated, so there's a million Truly cans or White Claw cans or Bacardi Coke cans, there's a million, everybody's got a can of some sort, and you just become another can on the shelf, but when you see a BuzzBall, what it is. When you see a BuzzBall Biggie, a giant bowling ball sized ball, what it is, because it makes sense, so, I think, when you think of marketing, you think of, what is the brand? Where will I sell it? What channel? Is it convenience stores, grocery stores, liquor stores? Is it duty free, cruise ships, on premise, in bars and restaurants and movie theaters, casinos? Where are you selling? And then what's your price point? And who's your target customer? Who do you think is your target customer? And a lot of times you don't know your target customer till after you started selling it and seeing who's buying it. You might think your customer's X, but it's really Y. So.
What was the biggest surprise for you as you were uncovering things during, this entire journey? Were there some things that sort of were different from my original hypothesis that turned out to be a great surprise?
I think most of my surprises are people surprises along my journey. People that I've trusted that couldn't be trusted, issues like that, or, just people that let you down, those kinds of things. The other thing I've learned is that I'm different. I'm just different than the other people on my staff and other people many times that I meet, like the other mothers of my children, just family, friends, I'm different. I have this enormous drive. I expect perfection. I am a digger. I will go research things. I will make something happen. I will visualize it. I will see it. I will dream it. And then I'll go execute that. And it's like, I don't stop. It's not like I need encouragement to go do it. It's just exciting for me.
Right.
But a lot of people don't have that drive. And, I ask them, what do they want to do with their life? And they're happy doing nothing. Some of them are just happy playing golf or happy, or raising kids or all those things are great and worthwhile. It's just, what gives me a personal buzz is, achievement, and it's exciting, and it's legacy, and, all those things.
So you mentioned, the word different, and how has that played out for you on a personal level? Yes, you're different from a lot of people around you, especially maybe a lot of women around you, but what has been the personal implication perhaps, and how you sort of dealt with that emotionally?
Well, when I used to work for someone else, being different wasn't cool, because when I was different, I was, bossy. I was a bitch. I was, all kinds of things that they called me. I was annoying, I'm sure, I talked too much, or I pushed too hard, or I aggravated somebody because they didn't like the way I approached something, or I was too direct, or, things like that. So when you work for someone else and you have this kind of personality, it's easy to steamroll people. But when you're the boss and you steamroll people, you get shit done, So there's it depends on which camp you're in, whether, how hard you tread.
Right.
So personally, and at home, I'm the boss of everything at home, and I'm the boss of my family, and my sons sometimes, because we're a family owned business, sometimes my sons have to say, Mom, you're not the boss over here right now. I just need help with my washer, And I'm like, do it this way, check that, do that.
That's fascinating. Well, I get similar feedback, so I can relate to that. Being a family-owned business is, has so much beauty in it, because it's such a great way to contribute towards something and to build something together, deepens the ties, but can also become the most dominant theme, at home, over dinner, at holidays, and all of that. What has helped you all find, perhaps, how do you, translate the relationship in the workplace to home? Because in your case, it's your husband, your kids, everyone's involved, right?
Yeah, we do end up talking work, quite a bit. But I think we're just such good friends in general. We like each other, genuinely like and love each other, that it's not bad. Sometimes we have to say, okay, I just don't want to talk about work right now. But normally we have common goals, common interests, and we solve problems that way. I could be 2 doors down from my husband and really not see him all day long, because he's the CFO and he's out doing what he does. I'm out doing what I do. And Alex is the president, and Andrew's working on operations, and Jordan's in procurement, and, we're all doing our thing to the best of our ability to help grow this company.
Yeah.
And our staff is part of our family too. We treat them like family as well, so.
So you mentioned something a little earlier about the biggest surprises have been with people, including the ones that were, a disappointment, or, setbacks in that case. It's a common theme I hear from so many of my entrepreneur friends throughout their journey. It's the people aspect becomes the most complex and challenging one to deal with. What has been sort of what guidance would you give, especially for early stage entrepreneurs that are building their teams, maybe building partnerships with co-founders and so forth? What guidance would you give in terms of navigating through those relationships, but also dealing with expected things, like you hire someone and it doesn't turn out the way it is and you get blasted online and things like that? Share a little bit maybe about your experience and what principles have you learned from that?
I think the key experience that everybody has is to trust their instinct. If they think something's wrong, it is wrong. You may not know why it's wrong, but trust your instinct on that. Trust your gut, because 99% of the time it's right. It's kind of like a boyfriend and girlfriend who can't get along and something's wrong, but he's lying about whatever, but you keep trying and keep trying and keep trying, and you're just treading water and getting nowhere, So trust your instinct with people. I had a guy that worked for me that was over my operations. He was a great guy. I loved this guy to death. So happy he came to work for me. Worked for me for about 6 months and asked for ownership in my business as well. And my son and I discussed it. It's a family-owned company, so it was a big deal to give somebody a % of our business. And we thought this guy could possibly help us, launch, into a bigger company. We offered him a partial share of our company. He came back and said, "Thank you very much, but I'm resigning. Actually, want to stay home, take care of my family. My kids are only little ones." And I found out 2 months later he was working for my competition, and he had also stocked up on trying to make a knockoff BuzzBall, and so he had copied all my formulas. He had copied all of my permits. So he went to the school of Merrilee to learn how to do it so he could do it on his own and copy me and knock me off. So I named a brand after him called Crooked Fox. It's a bourbon. So it was kind of a lesson learned for me, trust your own instincts. When you think something's wrong, it is wrong. The other thing I learned is to cut bait quick. So if you hire somebody and they're a deadbeat, and they just don't seem to be getting anything done, you need to let them go, or you need to talk to them, but if they don't get better, you can't keep holding on to bad people. You have to cut bait, because what happens is it disgruntles all the other people that are good, and they just hate working there all of a sudden. I had one guy that worked for me, I knew for 20 years, but he was an alcoholic, and he would take a nap under his desk, at work, or would find him on a couch somewhere in his car. He just was like on drugs and an alcoholic, and we didn't know. We were like, where is he? Where is he? Come to find out, that's where he was. We had to let him go. We also had people, we call them lovable losers, people that, everybody loves them. They talk to everybody. They're very socially out there. Everybody loves them, but they don't get anything done. So those are the ones you have to put on a strict plan and say, okay, here's your performance indicators. And if you don't hit these, I'm sorry, you have to go. We love you, but we got to go.
Yeah, it's a fine balance between believing in someone's potential and their desire to achieve something versus their ability to do so. And, as a founder, especially, it's a big bet to make, but there's only so far you can go with that.
And don't hire friends if you can help it. That's another lesson. You hire friends when you start out because you don't know anybody. But it's really hard because friends feel entitled, and it's hard to discipline them when they're your best friend that you go to dinner with on Saturday night. So,
right. What are some of the most important traits that you look for when you're looking to hire? Some non-negotiables in you?
Culture fit. I think if they have the aptitude to do the job, and the desire to do the job, do they have the culture fit? Do they look, walk, smell, taste like our child? That kind of thing. It's kind of like, do they fit into our personality, or are they going to be weird?
What if you could pinpoint the invisible ceilings limiting your success? Imagine having clarity on your strengths and barriers so you can take action and gain unstoppable momentum to advance as a future-ready leader. Well, that's exactly what the Beyond Barriers quiz will help you discover. You'll get your personalized score based on the 25 essential elements proven to accelerate success in the digital age, so you can understand what's holding you back and where to focus your efforts. The Beyond Barriers quiz is completely free and takes just a few minutes. Go to iambeyondbarriers.com/quiz and take the quiz today.
Now, given the nature of your business and both being high growth as well as, dealing with regulatory requirements and such, you're responsible for very high stakes decisions. Both financially and liability wise and so forth. How do you, when you're faced with a really complex or high impact decision, what's your process? How do you go about it?
It depends on what it is. If I'm purchasing really expensive machinery, or if I'm buying a new real estate building, or if I'm doing R&D on a new product, so I guess I would have to push back on that and go, what kind of question is it,
Right.
that I'm solving?
Right. Well, I mean more in terms of the mental framework rather than about that specific decision.
I make a list of all the attributes of whatever it is I'm trying to do, so I'll make a list, I'll go research, I'll figure out, I'll compare and contrast. And, if it's something brand new that hasn't been developed before, then I will talk about the attributes that I wish it to have, but I definitely visualize things in my head. And then I play out what ifs, like what if this broke, or what if that happened, or what if just follow it all the way through from start to finish, visualize it. And then when you get to the end, to the regulatory piece or other things, it's like, well, what do we have to do to make this a reality? So.
Right. Now, one of the things that distinguishes your business is not only is it a super edgy brand and a very cool company that's been high growth, but it's totally family owned. And when you look at sort of the business landscape and all of the media, all of the conversations about all these VC funded companies that have raised a ton of money and are, all the unicorns and all of that. What is your perspective on maybe an early stage entrepreneur that's trying to figure out, do I go this route or do I go that route? What have you discovered in what has worked for you, and, when and if you would even consider funding?
Well, I've got enough eggs in my basket that I need to worry about. But in terms of, accepting private equity money or venture capital money, just keep in mind that that's really expensive money. And they're going to want a big percent, or they're going to want to flip it in a few years, or they're going to want their money back times 5, So, that's a big choice, a strategy choice that you have to decide. Now, personally, I don't like debt. I'm very debt averse. I have no debt in my business. Now, could I take debt? Of course. And everybody wants to give me debt, to take out loans from a bank, give me lines of credit, all of those types of things, because that's how they make money. But the cheapest form of capital is, your own funds. And then the next cheapest is go get a loan from the bank. And then one of the more expensive choices is private equity or venture capital funding, because they're going to own your company.
Yeah. What has been the best part of building this, completely by yourself, and like the lessons you've learned in terms of, it's your baby all the way through?
I love it. I love coming to work every day. I love knowing that I employ 250 people. I love that we're family focused. I mean, even when COVID hit, we were all scared. We just kept up communication. We weren't sure we were an essential business. We made hand sanitizer for all the first responders. And then we started a little kids school for remote learning. We hired a Texas education agency teacher and an aide, and started our little remote school here at work for our employees, so that their kids could come to work with them, because my employees can't stay home and work from home. I just think that, it gives me a lot of satisfaction to own this company and to have the creative license to go out there and make and build things. That's the fun part of it for me. Running the business itself, doing the taxes, keeping up with the bills, that kind of stuff, doing HR management, that's not fun for me. And I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs sell, actually, because, it becomes boring and mundane. Once the excitement's gone and there's no new stuff, it's just routine, that's when they jump to the next project,
Right.
So if there's not enough of that, in your business, then either you need to rebuild it or cut bait again.
Right. Well, most founders are visionaries. So the excitement of what's ahead, what's in the future, and going towards that is the joy versus just the, ongoing management of that, which is why having a great team makes a huge difference that is able to do that. So speaking of vision and the future, you are someone who always envisions and has a clear picture of the future. What's the big dream?
Our vision is called reinventing happy hour. So however you celebrate happy hour is however we want to create a product for you. So whether that's an alcoholic beverage or a cannabis related product or a non-alcoholic type of drink, we're just in the beverage space. So that's kind of what, our deal is, but maybe we make popsicles or maybe we make, whatever. We can do all kinds of things. We can do non-alcoholic drinks. We can make kombucha, saffron milk, we could do all kinds of healthy types of things as well. So, they're just different occasions, different products, all of those things are in our R&D bucket moving forward. And so I think that's what's in store for us here at BuzzBallz Southern Champion.
That's a lot of exciting things to solve, especially, as from a social and cultural standpoint, as things evolve, especially, post-COVID. There's going to be so many new opportunities that will come about. Where do you draw your daily inspiration from? What's the daily habit that keeps you grounded in the midst of all of these responsibilities and big vision and, taking care of everyone else?
I think, my routine is coffee and phone and email and all those things, first thing in the morning to last thing at night. But I draw my inspiration from creating. I like to create something out of nothing. It's fun for me. I have dreams at night. I think of things, I want to write a movie about this, or I want to fix the world's plastic problem, or I want to, just, it doesn't matter what it is. It's going to be something big and it's going to be something fun. And to me, it's legendary stuff. It's like, for me, it's fun.
Dreaming big and making it happen.
Yeah. And just following that dream, visualizing it and seeing it, going and making it happen is exciting.
Yes. Absolutely.
Sometimes I look out over my warehouse with my sons, and we look out over it and we look at all this equipment, manufacturing capacity and buildings and the way our bar looks here, just for tours and hospitality. And we look around and go, oh my gosh, look at what we built. It's like people go, how did you do this? And it's not like it happened overnight. It happened over a series of, 10, 12 years. So It's just kind of fantastic to look at now. But
that's amazing. Well, it's been inspirational to see your journey and all of your successes, and especially an honor to be part of the same Ernst & Young entrepreneurial community. And we've all learned so much and given so much back. If you had a billboard, what message would you want to put on it to inspire?
For my product?
No, to inspire others from your journey and from your story.
Ooh. Probably, it sounds cliche, either dream big or make it happen or something like that. Just those kinds of inspirational things. I think, it sounds silly. Remember that movie, Field of Dreams? If you build it, they will come. Yeah. It's that kind of thing. People don't know what they want until they see it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you create something and they're like, oh, I have to have that, Yeah, I think that's just kind of innovation and fun stuff, and I just encourage people to go out there, reach out and just do it, go out and charge hard and go get it. Know the best, know the most about your topic and what you want to do. One other thing I would just advise women, for anybody, not just women, but, be able to describe what you do in 5 words or less. Many times I meet women and they spend 10 minutes trying to tell me what they do. Mm-hmm. And, you mentioned Ernst & Young. That was one of the things, one of the learnings I got out of that was get your pitch down. I make booze. That's the short and sweet of it. I make booze. That's less than 5 words. So people know what I do. But, I'm Merrilee Kick, come from Dallas, Texas. I own BuzzBallz's Southern Champion. It's an alcohol manufacturing company that creates BuzzBallz's, little cocktails that sell in liquor stores, convenience stores, drug stores, liquor store, et cetera, in 50 states and 21 countries, those kinds of things. So be able to get your pitch down so that when you talk to somebody, within 1 minute, they know who you are and what you do.
And therefore what they can do for you, and, also knowing what to ask for help.
Absolutely. I think that a lot of women struggle there. They get stuck there. And it's like, I do this and I do a little of that. And then somebody goes, wait, are you saying that you do X, Y? No, I don't do that. I just do this, and it's like, if you get a whole bunch of questions on people trying to explain what they do, then, they need to work on it.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that seems so basic, but like when you're meeting people, being very clear, not only about what you do, but standing out with that, and also knowing, being clear about what you need in order to get ahead. That elevator experience, if you have 1 minute with someone and they ask you, how can I help? And you have no answer, it's such a huge missed opportunity. And I think, the EY community has been terrific in being able to learn some of those things to differentiate that.
A lot of times too, women don't ask questions of the other person. They just like to talk. And so, not only will I give you my elevator pitch, but I want to hear yours and I want to hear what you do. And, we may have something in common, some synergies there that we need to grow together. I sat next to one of the VPs of 7-Eleven at a Dallas Regional Chamber of Commerce luncheon. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I make BuzzBallz's. Oh, you make BuzzBallz's? I'm the head of 7-Eleven buying, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, I know you guys sell a lot of the BuzzBallz's. He's like, yeah, you have a kick-ass brand, it's awesome. And I'm like, well, we'd love to make you a private label brand for you too. Okay. So within 6 months, we've built Sip Sip Hooray, and that's selling in 7-Eleven, so just from that one meeting.
Wow.
So you can grow your business, but you can do something for them too, and learn who they are.
Right. Ask great questions, listen in, and then take massive action. So, Merrilee, this has been so fantastic to not only hear your inspirational story of taking an idea and within 9 months launching it, building it over the past decade with your family, going places and reinventing happy hour and bringing joy into the world and these incredible creations. What an inspirational story. So thank you for being on our show, and good luck to everything you're going to keep doing and dominating in the world and inspiring everyone else to follow along.
Thanks, Nikki. Good luck to you too.
Thank you for listening to the Beyond Barriers podcast. There are thousands of podcasts out there, and we are so grateful that you've chosen to listen to ours. If you enjoyed the show, please leave us a rating and tell a friend about it. And subscribe to get new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Visit IamBeyondBarriers.com, where you'll find show notes, links, and the best way to connect with our guests. See you next episode.